Welcome again, my dear student of BA Part 3rd. In today's video, we will discuss the story The Mother of a Traitor. The summary of this story. This story is written by Maxim Gorky. It is a story of conflict between ambition, characterized by a traitor, and a brave but heartless son. And the life represented and characterized by the mother of a traitor. This story is another quest between human psychology, which shows there is another truth within human mind, and man is something more than a selfish creature, which makes one dedicated for the sake of society in the cost of the complete destruction of the selfish interest. Usually, the son is the most lovely and precious one for a mother, for which she is always ready to sacrifice anything, even her life. However, the mother sacrifices the life of her son for the preservation of the society and herself for the sake of her love to her son in this story. To get to such truth, the writer leads us through the imagined situation for the story to develop, where the enemy has surrounded a city for several days, and each and every part of the hope for life of the citizen has been lost. There is nothing else than the shadow of death for the citizen. Gradually, the course after such situation is revealed. The most loving son of another is leading the enemy to attack upon the city to fulfill the hunger of his ambition, without caring the old men, children, women, and anything in the city. This is the story of Mona Mariana, the mother of a traitor. Her son was the leader of the enemy who had surrounded the city. The people in the city knew that there was little hope of help. Their hope of salvation was waning day by day. Everything spoke to them of death. Detachments of war weary, half starved soldiers trooped sullenly through the narrow streets of the city. When people saw Mariana, they whispered to one another, "Is it she? It is she." Mariana moved about in the streets all alone, hated by the most people. She wandered from place to place by night. One day, in a remote corner of the city walls, she, she saw another woman kneeling beside a corpse. It was the dead body of her son. Her husband had died 13 days ago. Her son died that day. She said to Mariana, "Now that he has died honorably, fighting for his country, I can say that I feared for him. He was light-hearted, too fond of rivalry, and I feared that he might betray his city, as did the son of Mariana, an enemy of God and man. The leader of our foes may be so cursed and her wound that wore his son." The old lady did not know that she was talking to Mariana herself. Mariana covered her face and went on her way. The next morning, she went to the city's defenders and said, My son has come to be your enemy. Either kill me or open the gates that I may go to him. The soldiers took counsel with one another and decided that it was no use killing the lady for the sins of her son. They were certain that she could not have led her son to commit this terrible sin. However, they decided to let her go. And so they opened the gates and let her go. She walked as through she carried a precious phial of water beneath her cloak. Over in the enemy's camp, they saw her alone in the field, and some soldier approached her cautiously. They inquired who she was and whence she had come. Your leader is my son, she said, and not one of the soldiers doubted it. They fell in beside her, singing his praises, saying how clever and brave he was, and she listened to them and with head proudly raised, showing no surprise, for son could not be otherwise. Just then her son came, kissing her hands. He said, Mother, you have come to me. You are with me. Tomorrow I shall capture the city. I have spared this city for your sake. It has been like a thorn in my flesh. It has retarded my swift rise to fame. But now, tomorrow, I shall capture this city. They conversed for a long time until the sun sank. Soon it was dark. Mariana saw the dark houses where people feared to flight feared to light candles so as not to attract the attention of the city. The mother said to him, Come on, my son, lay thy head on my breast and rest. Remember how gay and kind you were as a child, and how everyone loved you. He obeyed her and laid his head in her lap and closed his eyes. He dozed there on mother's breast like a child. Then, covering him with her black cloak, she plunged a knife into his heart and he died. Marina threw his corpse at the feet of the astonished Cineres. Addressing the city, she said, As a citizen, I have done for my country all I could. As a mother, I remain my son. With a firm hand, she plunged the knife into her own breast. She was soon died. So, this was a brief summary of the story, The Mother of a Traitor. First, she thinks of persuading her son to cancel such evil and decides to take most difficult departure from the loving city. The story, which starts from the conflict between the mind of a mother, ends at the solution of the problem at the cost of the life of a traitor and his mother. On the other hand, the wounded and hopeless city gets life and lives new life after the end of the story. The affective images used there makes this story successful. In terms of attaching the readers with the situation and giving the experience of both hopeless citizen and the mother in the difficulty of her mental conflict. The images used in first part of the story, which gives the picture of the despaired city as if it is such a small and tender, like within the jaw of dreadful animal, which can be crushed down on any moment, without any hope of support of overrating such inevitable destruction at any moment. The story is rich with symbols and images which can easily attach the audience, the readers emotionally in the story. Particularly the image of the city in the dark night, like a prey between the jaws of enemy at the initial part, and the image of the city as a dumb, wounded animal at the succeeding part are successful to make the audience feel with or identify with the central character and motivate them be sacrificed if needed for the sake of their country and society. So brief this was a summary of the story, The Mother of a Traitor.